that the phenomena themselves, the moving, the changing, all of that, the manifestation of all of this is actually an aid to our seeing rather than an obstacle. That I don't have to get rid of my thoughts and all of that in order to recognize that which they're happening in. In fact, maybe they're helpful in a way. Would I even recognize the silent space of awareness without the thoughts passing through it, giving me the contrast? Would I even hear silence consciously? Because I've been hearing it my entire existence, which is forever. Would I even hear it consciously without the sounds that seem to punctuate it, the noises? This was life-changing for me because I could just begin to relax. And I realized this is what meditation is, or it is for me at least. And noticing of whichever way phenomena are appearing, and noticing the noumenon that's noticing. So there's a dog barking outside. I recognize, I'm aware of it. I can hear it. So there's awareness present. I'm conscious of some uncomfortable feeling in my body. It points me back to the consciousness that recognizes it. If I'm thinking about what I need to do later today, I can recognize I'm thinking about that in this present moment now. And if I'm moving my body, I can use that to show me the stillness, the silent space in which it's moving. And I began to explore these, which way the phenomena arising right now for me. Is it sound? Is it thought? Is it movement? Is it something I'm conscious of? Is it some sense of time, earlier, later, that I could contrast against now? Is it a sense of being here or over there that I could contrast against the here-ness that's always present? Could I notice the coming and going, the presence and the absence of phenomena to help me recognize the sense of presence that's constant? Can I use the sense of my thoughts coming and going to point me back to that sense that I am? I'm here to watch my thoughts. And I just began to lighten up a lot about meditation and self-inquiry. That maybe my sense of someoneness, my egoic sense of self, could help me recognize that space in which it's appearing. What is my egoic sense of self, my someone, showing up in? And what's recognizing that someoneness? Is it a someone or a thing? Maybe we can begin to redefine the search, the seeking in this way. That we're learning a new skill that isn't natural to us at first. Just because it's reality doesn't mean it's natural for us to perceive that way at first. And that all we're doing really is shifting a habit so that the majority of the time we begin to perceive that which the phenomena are arising in, by whichever name we're calling it, first. Can I hear the silence without also recognizing the sounds that's coming and going? Can I notice the contextual field without noticing the objects, the content too? So can you maybe release a little bit of blame of yourself, unworthiness, or whichever way you're holding it? Can you stop shoulding yourself? I should be able to recognize this. And just finding your way, feeling your way in right now, even just with these words, recognizing there's a silence that first starts. It just seems like absence of sound. It seems dull. It seems boring at first. In the absence of these words, there's a silence. And as I began to listen to silence, that was my favorite way at first. I began to hear it more and more. I began to recognize it was always here. And I'd spent my entire existence tuning it out somehow, because I was only listening to the coming and goingness of it, of all of this, as we all do, of course. And then when I couldn't seem to hear the silence, I would begin to look for another way in, another way. I was aware of the fact I couldn't hear the silence. So there's the awareness. There's the same noumenon showing up this time as awareness rather than silence. They're the same thing, of course. Noumenon, awareness, consciousness, nowness, here-ness, presence, I amness, existence. They're all synonyms for the same thing, which is reality, your own self with a capital S. But maybe one of those words helps you to find a way back in when you feel you can't. When I can't notice the stillness, it seems to have, I can't rest as a stillness, it seems to have gone in that moment. I'm only noticing the agitation of thoughts and things like that in that moment. I can also recognize I'm noticing that now. It's happening in a nowness. And little by little like this, I began to find my way back in every single time I lost my footing, so to speak, every single time I lost my way in. And this had a major effect that I really want to share with you, that I hope will be unfolding for you also. Totally revolutionary. The understanding began to blossom in me that maybe reality is showing up in a different way every moment for me. Yes, I might find it easier, more natural to listen to silence than to be conscious of my consciousness. Maybe I might have my favorite ways, but that it serves me, it behooves me to kind of have all these ways in for the times when my mind was saying, you've lost it, it's gone. I could say, well, actually, I haven't lost it. It's just showing up now this way, showing up this way. Like it was playing hide and seek with me. It's not different to me, but for want of explanation. So how is it showing up for you now? Is it showing itself as awareness, as silence? Can you be conscious of this now moment that we're all gathered in? Can you notice a sense of stillness? Recognizing that you are present right now. There is a presence here that is you. Or noticing that everything that your body does is done with this here-ness. You cannot do an action over there. You cannot speak a word over there. It all comes with a sense of here-ness. When I think a thought, it's happening here. When I feel an emotion, it's happening here. There's this here-ness that goes with my entire existence. I've never ever done anything anywhere else than here. Even my epiphanies and my words and everything are coming inside this sense of being here. I'm here. And these are just some of the ways I found to kind of come to a point where I could no longer believe this thought, that I couldn't recognize what I really am. And it became more of a fun thing. Well, what is it shifted to now? If I'm really good at listening to silence, and then I find myself in a noisy environment, an airport, train station, a family get together, something, then how is it showing up for me now? It must be here. It must be here because it's here all times, all places. What am I showing up as now? Oh, I can recognize that all of these bodies, all this activity is happening inside some silent space, some field. the contextual field, which is the background to every experience. All of this that's going on inside is the content, the objectivity, the phenomena. And I just kept doing this over and over until there was never a moment when I wanted to find the noumenon, the real self, that I felt I couldn't. And that gave me such confidence because I could no longer believe this thought that used to torment me that I can't do this. It's not going to happen. This awakening thing is never going to happen. It became more of a, how is it happening for me right now? How am I recognizing it? I began to fall in love with that and in love with discovering how it's showing up for me right now. And then I wanted to do it more and more. And I found I could do it while I was doing all kinds of body activities. And eventually, even while I'm working, even while I'm eating, even while I'm driving, eventually I could do it all the time. And then this epiphany happened that of course I can do it at any time because I'm not the body. Why should any activity, even these words that are coming out right now, this satsang, get in the way of me recognizing what I really am? If all of that is happening on autopilot, so to speak, spontaneously coming from the body. There were many other insights as well, but as I began to get more excited and recognizing, tuning into what I really am more and more, it just became clearer and clearer. It's always here, and it is what I am. And that the only reason I haven't recognized it is because nobody has ever really shown me how to recognize that which is not changing, which we all ignore constantly. And that even when we do recognize it, we might not value it at first because it doesn't seem extraordinary. In fact, it may seem extraordinary, completely ordinary.